Alright, thanks again for joining me on another adventure. So today we are up at Church Farm in Arsley, which is just outside of Stevenage. This is a paid wild camp. You pay £16 for this place. It's pretty wet today, unfortunately. I was hoping it would have drained off, but it has rained a lot. So we're definitely going to be in for an interesting one. Alright, so I'm here on my own at the moment, but my friend Jill is on her way. I'm going to be in a tent this evening, and Jill's going to be, I think she's setting up a hammock, so we'll come back to that and have a look at that when she arrives a bit later. Alright, so we need to first things first get set up. So I really want to show you my tent today. I've mentioned it a couple of times in posts on Facebook pages and the like. The tent I've got today is the Four Clays one-man trekking tent from Decathlon. It's a super light tent. I'm going to get that out and I'm going to show you around that, and we're going to set it up as well today. I won't show you the setup process in the video, but I will show you some of its unique features that it has and why it's my go-to trekking tent, or just actually just becoming my all-day tent, my everyday tent at the moment. I know a lot of people are interested in affordable equipment, so yeah, let's have a look at that. Okay. Alright, so here we have the tent. So it's the Four Clays, one person, MT910. It weighs in at 1,300 grams. I also have in here the ground sheet. I bought that extra. Now the benefit of the ground sheet is it does allow you to set up the tent outer first. You don't have to set it up inner first. Without the ground sheet, there's a little ground sheet. Without the ground sheet, you have to set it up inner first and then put the fly on top. But using the ground sheet, and it does show some instructions as well. You can, it kind of shows you a little picture. Alright, you get a bunch of stakes, you get poles, outer fly, and then you get inner fly as well. So I'm going to set this up and then we'll have a little brief look. I'm not going to show you the setup process because I'm still learning this tent. It's going to take me forever and I still make a few mistakes with this one, but I'll show you it once it is set up. Cool. Okay, here we are then. The Four Clays one-man tent all set up and ready for the night. Its form factor when set up is nice and small. Its footprint isn't massive at all. It doesn't really blend in that well colour-wise, but you know, it's not too bad. It's not bright orange, I guess. It has 4 tie downs. I've only put one up, which I'm going to show you why in a minute. And you know, it's got some really nice, unique features, which I'm going to show you as we go around the tent. So yeah, let's go and have a look inside. So we're going to start with the zip. It's got one piece of Velcro at the bottom, and then it's got the storm flap all the way up. It doesn't have any more Velcro, so you know, you might find if the wind catches it, it may blow up. Perhaps another bit of Velcro here would have been quite nice. When you unzip, it brings the whole flap up with it. It's sort of left dangling, but it's a little bit easier to get into rather than having this big flap. There is a hook just here. I'm going to be doing this one-handed, so bear with. So it hooks in place and holds it open. It's a little bit fiddly, especially if you had cold hands, gloves. I might add something to that, make it a little bit easier, maybe a little bit of shock cord or something that I can hook around, because it is quite fiddly to undo. And then that gives you your large opening. Then as we come into the tent, we have a large vestibule big enough for your kit, and it's got a ground sheet of its very own as well, which is actually separate to the footprint that I purchased. So you could use the footprint, which has a ground sheet. Without the footprint, you still have a ground sheet, and that clips in place as well to stop any wind blowing up into your kit. Nice little bit of a space there to store your bag and whatnot. And then we come in and we have obviously the main door. The main door, you can zip it from top and it can come all the way around obviously to the bottom, and you can open it all the way to the top. The zip is really quite easy to open. It's a nice one-handed zip. Again, it gives you a good opening into the body of the tent, into the main part of the tent. There is only one door, and as you can see, it's only big enough for one person. Down the end there, we've got a couple of pockets, and there's nothing at this end. There was the fire tag, the fire instructions, but I've taken those off. I didn't really need those once I read them once. And then if we look up, we have a hook for a lamp, and then we have a couple of mesh pockets as well for storing bits and bobs. And then there's a little hook down that end, if you can put together some sort of maybe drying line or something, I don't know. And there you go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my gear in here, and then I'm going to show you sort of how much space we have as well. Awesome. Alright, so here we are, all set up, got my tent, my sleeping bag and whatnot. So let's take you through my sleeping bag quickly. So first of all, I've got Decathlon pillow, had that for some time, nice and squidgy like that. I've got thermal liner inside my sleeping bag. Then I've got an army issue sleeping bag, which I now know is called a DOS bag, which I heard recently. So, you know, DOS bag, one of those. And then underneath that, I've got a really heavy air mattress that's lined as well. So inside there's definitely some sort of foam. It came from Aldi's, don't ask me what it is, no idea. But I have used it a couple of times. And then underneath that I've got some reflective material. This actually started off life as a windscreen cover for when it was sunny. You put it inside your windscreen to stop your car getting too hot. Found I never used it, so I just repurposed it. So that's what that is as well. So I'm going to be plenty toasty warm while I'm in my bag. And as you can see, it is only space for one person. Let me bring you inside the bag. Okay, so this is the inside of the bag. I'm not going to lie down in it because I've got my shoes on, but it is really quite small. I've used this a few times, this bag, on the Ridgeway Walk and a few other camps that I've been on, and it's always been really lovely in here. It's not too claustrophobic, you can sit up. This is what I'd be like if I was sitting up, so plenty of head height and length. I think if you're under 6 foot, you're fine. Anything more than 6 foot, and you might find it's a bit too big. So I say one of my most favourite features is definitely the area where you can stash your kit. There's enough space for you to cook your food if the weather's a bit wet. Let's bring you in there. If you had to cook from outside the doorway, there's enough space. You'll be okay. You won't get too wet in there. Little hooks, foot box, and so there's nothing at the head because I always like to sleep this end. Maybe you're supposed to sleep that end. I'm not sure, but I don't really like the idea. I don't like the idea of not having my head by the door. So there we have Jill, and she's setting up her hammock at the moment. Alright, so Jill's all in blue today. She's got her Amazon Special hammock alongside her Amazon Special tarp. So as you see, we've rigged it up at the moment so it's nice and high so she can work underneath. Because she is 6 foot. And if the rains does come, Jill can continue working on her setup without getting wet. And then before we go to bed tonight, we're going to pull that down so that she's got plenty of protection from the wind and the rain as well. So yeah, that's Jill's setup. I'll let her finish that off, and we will go and have a better look once she's up and running. Cool. All right, so we're all set up. We are hammock. We are tent, and then we've got little sort of day area shelter. We're here for quite a while. We got here at like 12 o'clock and we're going to stay tomorrow till about 10, so there's no rush. So what have we done so far? We built a little fire, come in there, and that's all ready to light. We've got a Swedish torch there, which is Jill's made for us from B&Q. And I cleaned this fire pit in readiness for a little bit later on as well. Got a couple of bags of logs. Yeah, so there's a lot going on. Let's have a quick look at Jill's setup while we're here and see what she's got. So we've got a Amazon Special hammock in black. It's good quality, very heavy duty material. Got a nice pocket to it as well, and it's got a built-in bug net, which is nice. And you can unhook the bug net. I believe that comes off, or you can certainly unhook it. It's got some nice features there. Jill's also got an under blanket as well. Amazon Special. Army surplus. Inside we've gone with the 1958 pattern Army issue sleeping bag, but not the waterproof base. So newer version. I think you have to use it with a bivvy when using it outside. Pillow. We've got a pillow at the top here, something a bit fluffy. Very, very nice, going to keep it warm. Jill's also trying something new for today as well. She's put the air mattress, let me see if I can see you in there. She's put the air mattress inside the hammock to give a bit more support and also help with the warmth as well. So it's a nice little setup. She's got tree savers. Got some of those set up as well. And then we've got a simple tarp with a reflective inner to keep it nice and warm. It shouldn't be too cold, hopefully. We're hoping that it doesn't freeze tonight, but you never know, you've got to be prepared. But there is a very, very good chance of rain. So we're going to chill out, get this fire going in a couple of hours, and then I'll bring you back in a minute.
One match, apparently. One match. Not this match.
So why do they give you 5?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Not this one. I think it's probably the quality of match rather than anything. Oh, God. Crikey. Let's try something else, shall we? It's going to be one of them, isn't it? Fucking hell, that's going now. Look at it. Of course, now I've fucking moved it over there. I am absolutely fucking impressed. I'll try them anyway.
Alright, so we've had a nice little bit of food. Steak, potatoes, some mushrooms, all cooked on that fire just behind you there. So now we're going to chill out for a bit. That wind's coming up as well, it all sounds a bit weird. It's blowing the leaves on the tree, sounds a bit spooky. So yeah, we're just going to chill out by this fire for a bit. A couple of beers, got some beverages, and then yeah, just enjoy the sunset. So I'm going to probably leave it there for tonight. Might make a quick catch up in the tent just to show you the size of it once I'm in it. Yeah, brilliant. It's a really good night here. So this is Church Farm, Ardsley, and it's a nearly wild site. And if you come during the week like we have, you generally get it all to yourself. Although I don't think we're alone tonight, but that's okay, it's all good. Thanks very much for joining me this evening, and I'll talk to you in a bit. Cheerio. Oh, good morning. Thanks very much for joining me again. So we've got a bit of a vintage here. Jill's just gone back. No, I won't do that. Hey, good morning. So I've got my vintage stove up and running here. Very impressive. This was Uncle Ron's, 1952 he bought this. Uncle Ron was in the Korean War, so he's left this to us, and it's working really nice. I had a bit of a nightmare yesterday, but I got it up and running again today, ready to make my coffee. So got me fresh coffee there, and my old vintage Primus stove. Really impressed. I'm going to say a big shout out to Pete, Paraffin Pete, on Facebook, on the UK Wild Campers site. Gave me a lot of help and advice. So if you've got one of these and you need help, search for Paraffin Pete, and he's your man. All right, guys, I'm going to enjoy my coffee, and come back to you in a bit. Cool. There we go, there's another successful wild camp for this Easter break. So Jill's all packed up, I'm all packed. So what we've done is we've cleared the fire pit. It is a paid camp, and when we got here it was a mess. Like, it was a proper disgusting mess. People just left beer cans, and they'd obviously burnt pallets and it's full of nails. So we cleaned all that up last night, stuck it into a bag, and then we had our fire, and then we finished our fire and we bagged up all our own coals, and we've filled it in as much as we can do with a bit of mud, just to try and make it a little bit more natural. As you see, the environment's all been trodden down anyway. There's no point sticking leaves and stuff on top because it won't look like it's natural. Alright, so it's nice and clean. As always, guys, please leave no trace. You know, even if you come to a paid site, at least take your junk home with you. You bought it, guys, please try and take it home with you. Alright, so, we've got one more thing as well. Someone's left, let's bring Jill in there. Someone's left their DD tarp hanging up. Do we steal it or do we leave it? That's the big question. Has it been there? What is it yours? Did you leave it? Did you leave it? There's a DD tarp just up in the woods over there. It's been put up quite nicely, so we're going to leave it because we're not scumbags. But if we come back next time it's there, it's going to be ours. Alright guys, thank you very much for joining us again on this awesome camp. Had a really good time, and I'll throw in a few pictures as well of the weekend. Cheers very much. Cheerio.